The small can of Coca-Cola in your fridge costs about $1, maybe less if you grab the multi-pack. And yet, mechanics are watching customers hand over hundreds of dollars for stuff that little could have handled on its own, no special tools required. Most people only think of that can as something you crack open with lunch. But here's the thing, the guys who work under cars all day, they know exactly what it can do. They've always known. They just don't bring it up because rust removal, degreasing, cleaning corrosion off a battery, that's billable time on a work order. And it stops being billable the second you crack that can open for something other than drinking it. This is beneath the barcode, preventing you from making expensive mistakes and giving you the fix for the ones you've already made. Number 9, the rust loosener, the trick for the bolt that just will not budge. You know the one. Rusted solid, you're out there with a wrench and a prayer, maybe a little bit of yelling, and it's not moving an inch. Before you buy a can of penetrating oil, try this instead. Pour some cola into a cup or a plastic bag if it's something you can wrap and tie off, and let the bolt sit submerged for a few hours, overnight if it's really bad. The mild acid in the soda gets in there and works on the rust just enough to loosen its grip on the threads. It's not instant, and it's not going to outmuscle something that's been seized solid for a decade in the rain, but for the everyday stuck bolt, the kind you run into constantly, it does the job for the price of a bottle instead of a specialty spray can. Number 8, the battery terminal cleaner, the fix for that white, crusty gunk building up on your battery posts. That crust is corrosion, and it's actually eating into your connection, which means your car cranks slower or sometimes doesn't crank at all on a cold morning when you least want that to happen. Mechanics see this constantly, and they'll happily charge you to clean it, sometimes bundled into a bigger inspection fee you didn't even ask for. But pour a little cola right onto the terminals, let it fizz and work for a couple minutes, then scrub with an old toothbrush. The acid neutralizes that corrosion, and it wipes clean. No wire brush attachment or specialty spray needed. Just rinse it off after with some plain water so you're not leaving sugar sitting on your battery, and keep it away from your paint while you're at it, since it can leave a residue if it drips somewhere you don't want it. Number 7, the bug and tar remover, the trick for a grill and windshield that look like a bug graveyard after one road trip through farm country. Bug guts get baked onto your paint by the sun and turn into this stubborn, almost cement-like residue that regular soap and water barely touches no matter how hard you scrub. Soak a rag in cola, lay it over the worst spots for a few minutes so it has time to soften things up, then wipe. The acidity breaks down the proteins in the bug residue without you having to scrub hard enough to scratch your clear coat in the process. Works on light tar buildup too, the stuff that collects on your lower bumper and rocker panels from driving behind trucks all summer on the highway. If any of this is already sounding like something you're going to try this weekend, go ahead and hit like. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who could use it. And if you're new around here, stick around because this channel's whole thing is catching the expensive mistake before it happens, or handing you the cheap fix for the one you already made without even realizing it. Number 6, the driveway degreaser, for that oil stain that's been sitting on your garage floor or driveway since who knows when, the one you've just kind of learned to walk around. Once oil soaks into concrete, it's there for good unless you actually treat it, and a lot of the commercial degreasers run you $10–15 a bottle and still take some real scrubbing on your end. Pour cola directly onto the stain, let it sit for a good while, 20 minutes or more for an old, set-in stain, then scrub with a stiff brush and hose it off. It won't work miracles on a stain that's been baking in the sun for 5 years straight, but on anything reasonably fresh, it lifts a surprising amount and it costs you nothing you weren't already going to pour down the drain anyway. Number 5, the wheel rust fix, for chrome rims or lug nuts that have picked up that dull orange haze that makes an otherwise clean car look neglected. Rust on chrome doesn't just look bad, it spreads if you ignore it, and eventually you're looking at replacing whole trim pieces instead of just cleaning what's already there. Soak a rag in cola and wrap it around the affected area, or just pour some directly on and let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes. Wipe and buff with a clean cloth after, going in circles rather than back and forth for the best finish. For light surface rust, this brings the shine right back without any special polish. For anything deeper, it at least slows it down until you can actually deal with it properly down the road. Number 4, the wiper blade refresher, the fix for wipers that are smearing more than they're actually clearing, especially the first rain after a long dry spell. That streaking isn't always a worn-out blade. Half the time it's just grime and road film built up on the rubber edge that's stopping it from making clean, even contact with your glass. Wipe the blade down with a cola-soaked rag right along that thin edge where it meets the windshield, then rinse with water and wipe dry with a clean cloth. Takes maybe 2 minutes per blade, and it can save you from buying a brand new set for a problem that was never actually about the blades themselves in the first place, just what was built up on them. Number 3, the shop tool rescue, the one that saves you a trip to a specialty cleaner that easily runs $60 or $70 depending on how many tools you're talking about restoring. Wrenches, sockets, anything metal that's been sitting in a damp garage or the bottom of an old toolbox picks up that light surface rust over time, and it makes everything harder to grip and honestly kind of embarrassing to pull out in front of anyone. Drop the tools in a container, cover them with cola, and let them soak anywhere from a couple hours to overnight for the worst cases. Scrub with an old brush, rinse, dry them off completely so you're not just trading rust for more rust, and maybe hit them with a light coat of oil after so it doesn't just come right back next week. For a whole drawer of tools, this beats buying a bottle of dedicated rust remover every single time you notice the problem. Number 2, the stain lifter, for the mystery stains on your floor mats and seats that regular cleaner just smears around instead of actually removing. Coffee, some kind of drink spill, whatever it is that's been ground into the carpet fibers, dab a cloth with cola and work it into the stain. Let it sit a few minutes, then blot with a clean, damp cloth and repeat if you need to. It's not a miracle worker on every single stain out there. Some things are just done for good, but for a lot of everyday spills, it does more than people expect, and it's a lot cheaper than a bottle of specialty upholstery cleaner you'll use twice and then forget about in the garage for the next 2 years. Number 1, the Chrome Rescue, and this is the one that can genuinely save you from a rechroming bill, which if you've ever priced it out, runs into the hundreds of dollars depending on the part and how bad the damage is. A chrome bumper or trim piece that's gone rusty and pitted looks like it's done for, like the only fix left is stripping it down and sending it out to get replated by a specialty shop. Before you do that, soak a rag in cola and let it sit draped over the rusted section for 20 or 30 minutes, giving the acid time to actually work into the pitting. Then scrub with something like aluminum foil balled up loosely, which sounds strange the first time you hear it, but it works almost like extra fine steel wool against the rust without scratching the chrome underneath the way a wire brush would. Rinse thoroughly, dry it off, and buff it out with a clean cloth. For a lot of surface rust and light pitting, this brings chrome back from looking finished to looking genuinely presentable again, sometimes shockingly so, for the cost of a soda instead of an actual shop bill that could run you a few $100s minimum. So that's the list. A $1 can that loosens rust, cleans batteries, strips bugs and tar, lifts oil stains, saves your chrome, and probably a couple other things nobody's even figured out yet, sitting in the door of your fridge the entire time. If this changed how you look at that can sitting in there, smash that like button, drop a comment, and let me know which one you're trying first, or which one actually surprised you, because I read every single comment on these, and seriously, if you're not subscribed yet, get on it, because this is Beneath the Barcode, and every single week we're digging up the stuff that's quietly costing you money without you even realizing it, and handing you the cheap fix that was sitting right there the whole time. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll catch you in the next one. Remember, sometimes the fix isn't sitting on a shelf at the auto parts store or written up on a mechanic's invoice with a labor charge attached to it. Sometimes it's in your fridge right next to the leftovers, waiting for you to pour it where it actually belongs instead of just into a glass.